dear my 7th grade advanced students, it's time to prepare for this topic 3 test. So let's get started. I'm going to go over the review sheet with you, which will help you prepare. Start with number 1. It says, solve for D. It's a negative 1/4 D minus 2/5 D equals 39. Well, remember, we have to combine our like terms. Both of these terms end in D. And like terms are terms that have the same variable to the same power. That means I can go ahead and add these two together. But to add fractions, my denominator has to be the same. So I'm going to change these. I'm going to multiply this denominator to 5 over 5 because I know 5 over 5 is 1. And I'm allowed to multiply anything to 1. So let's see, we're going to multiply this to 5. So this is going to be a negative 1 to 5, which would be 5. And then 4 to 5, which would be 20. And so now I have negative 5 over D20. Next, I'll multiply this to the form of 4 over 4, because again, 4 over 4 is 1. If I multiply this to 1, I'm still have negative 2/5. It's just going to look different. Just like I still have negative 1/4 right now. It just looks different. So negative 2 times 4 will be a negative 8. And 4 times 5, of course, will give me 20. Now I have negative 8 over 20D. As we can see now, my denominators are the same. And I have negative 5 minus 8. Now you would think that I'd be subtracting, but remember the rule. When my signs are the same, I find the sum, which means I'm adding these two together. I'm going more into debt. Think about it. If I owe $5 to somebody and then I owe them another 8, I don't owe them less money, right? So I'll add these together because when I find the sum, I'll find the answer to an addition problem. 8 and 5 make 13. So this would be a negative 13. So now I have a negative 13 over 20D. Now it's got to be equal to 39. Now I know the only way I can get rid of this negative 13 over 20 is to multiply it to the inverse. And the inverse will be negative 20 over 13. Now I have to remember the rule. Whatever I multiply to one side, I multiply to the other side. This looks like it's going to be some serious work, but then I remember this is really 39 over 1, and 13 goes into 39 3 times. So I can get rid of the 13 and the 39. 13 goes into 13 once. 13 goes into 39 3 times, and suddenly all I have is 3 times negative 20. That's easy. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 20 would be 60, and 3 times negative 20 then would be negative 60. So that means D is equal to negative 60. All right. Let's go ahead and work number 2 now. Number 2 says, solve the equation. I've got 96 minus 4.5y minus 3.2y equals 5.6y plus 42.8. Wow, that was a mouthful. I can remember that I'm going to combine my like terms again. So 96 is going to come down. I'm not going to do nothing with it because there are no numbers to combine it with on this side of the equal sign. But these two are both ending in y to the same power. So I can add negative 4.5 and negative 3.2. I know these together are going to make 7.7, right? Because 5 plus 2 is 7, 4.3 is 7. So this will be a negative 7.7 y. all this is going to equal 5.6 y plus 42.8. All right, I did my first step, which was combining my like terms. Now I've got to go ahead and combine terms that are alike on each side. The first thing I'm going to do is move this 77 or 7.7 over here. Why am I moving the bigger number? Because I know once to get rid of it, I'm going to have to add it to 7.7. And whatever I add to one side, I'll add to the other. All right, running out of room. I guess I should do this over here. So I think I'm going to rewrite it over here where you can see a little better. 96 I never touched. 77, negative 7.7 plus 7.7 is 0. So this is going to not come down at all, which leaves me equal sign. And when I see that these are both positive numbers, I know that 6 and 7 is 13. And then 7 plus 5 plus 1 is also 13. So this is going to give me 13.3. And then that's going to leave me on this side of plus 42.8. Now I just got to combine my constants, my numbers here. I made a little error over here. I see I forgot to put my y there, so I'm going to correct it really quick before I accidentally forget that there's a y that's supposed to be there, and then I end up combining it with my numbers. So this is 3.3 y plus 42.8. Now remember, I've got to get my variable by itself, so this 42.8 has got to go. I'm going to subtract 42.8. Whatever I subtract from one side, I subtract from the other side. Now 96 minus 42.8. I got to borrow something from here, so I'll have a 10 over here to minus the 8 from. Let's see. When I do that, that's going to be 10 minus 8, which give me 2. 5 minus 2, which will give me 3. And 5 or 9 minus 4, which will give me 5. Now, 53.2 is equal to 13.3. All right, all this above it had been taken care of. This was eliminated. Now I've got to go ahead. Remember, this is a y. I've got to get this 13.3 away from y, so I'm going to divide it away. Whatever I divide from one side, I'm going to divide from the other side. And now I have the division problem. 53.2 divided by 13.3. All right. I'm trying to see what can I go to multiply. Let's see. Well, I'm going to use my calculator here. I'm pretty sure the answer is 4, to be honest with you. But I'm going to use my calculator just to make sure. I'm going to take 53.2. I'm going to divide it by 13.3. And it is 4. Look at that. So now I have 4 equals, well, remember, 13.3 over 13.3 is 1. So now I have 1y left over. So my answer to this problem is y equals 4. All right, let's go ahead and get to number 3. Solve the equation. Wow. I'm going to just go ahead and type it up over here because I know the trouble that I got into doing the other one down there. And we've got 3 times x minus 5. And then that's minus 5x equals negative 25 plus 6. All right. If I work this, 6x, excuse me. Let's see, if I was to work this, first I realize it's 3 times x, which is 3x. I'm using distributive property. 3 times a negative 5 is negative 15. It's going to be minusing 5x. That has to equal negative 25 plus 6x. All right, now I'm going to combine my like terms on this side. I see I have 3x minus 5x. That's going to be a negative 2x. The negative 15 comes down. I didn't do anything to it. And so does the negative 25 plus 6x. Now I got to combine my x's on the opposite side. I'm going to go ahead and move this negative 2 because I know to get rid of it, I'll need a positive 2x. And that will leave me a positive number over here when I add 2x to this side. Six x plus 2x gives me 8x. And 2x minus 2x leaves me nothing. So this gives me negative 15 equals negative 25 plus 8x. I got to get my variable by itself, so I got to move this negative 25. I'll have to add 25 to this side to get rid of it. Whatever I add to one side, I add to the other side. Negative 15 plus 25 is positive 10. Now I know 10 is going to equal, well, 8x. I have to divide 8 away from 8x to get x by itself. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. Now I have 10 divided by 8. That's going to give me 1 and 2/8. 1 and 2/8 is going to be equal to x. But don't forget that 1 and 2/8 can be reduced because 2/8 is really 1/4. So this is 1 and 1/4. So over here I should have x is equal to 1 and 1/4. All right, let's go on to the next one. We've got, how many solutions does, wow, look at this. Does this equation have? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and erase all this and get rid of this. I'll have some room to work. And now I've got 3x. Let's see, it says plus 15 equals 2x plus 10 plus x plus 5. All right, let's go ahead and make some short work out of this, hopefully. First, we're going to combine our like terms on each side. Got 2x plus x, so this is going to be 3x, it comes down, plus 15, 2x and 1x make 3x, and 10 plus 5 makes 15. And suddenly I see that I have the same numbers on each side. The minute you get to a problem where you know the exact numbers on each side are the same, you know you have an infinite amount of solutions. And here's why. First of all, you'll end up taking away your variable, right? And when you do, you realize you're just going to have two numbers on it. These numbers are going to be, in this case, 15 equals 15. And 15 equals 15 all the time, which means this will be an infinite amount of solutions. Now, had we done this problem and they didn't equal each other and the variables were eliminated and we did not get two numbers that equal each other, then we would have zero solutions. Okay, let's say this number was 14 and then it ended up being 15 equals 14. We know that's never true. So in that case, it would have been no solutions, right? And of course, anytime we have a variable on one side, let's say this would have been a 2x, and we would have subtracted it and got 2x on this side, or even 1x, and it said x equals 15. Then we would have known there was one solution, all right? Let's go to number 5. The graph represents the rate which Marlowe makes origami birds. The equation y equals 2.5x represents how fast Josh makes them per minute. Who makes them faster? Well, Marlowe is making them at a rate of, well, let's see over here. He's making 2 birds. It looks like 10 minutes because if this is 20 minutes, this must be 10. So 2 birds in 10 minutes. And what is the rate over here? Well, they said this was 2.5x, and that's how much he makes them per minute. So he's making 2.5 every minute, while he's only making 2 in 10 minutes. That tells me that Josh is making a lot more faster ones, right? Because if I put this graph into an equation, it would equal, let's see, y equals 2 over 10. 2 over 10 is really 1 over 5. 1/5 x. And that 1/5 is not more than 2.5. So my answer would be Josh. Okay, let's go ahead and go to number 6 now. The graph shows the proportion of red and blue food coloring that Tyler mixes to make purple frosting. What is the slope? Remember, the slope is what we call the rise over run. Whenever a slope is proportional, in other words, it goes through my origin, I can just take the y and divide it by the x to find my rate of change, which is the slope. Okay, so what is the y in this case? Well, they gave us 2 coordinates. Let's just use this one, for instance. This one says 50, because it comes at 50, and 70, right? So y is up here, so that's going to be the 70, and that's going to be over the 50. Remember, every fraction is a division problem. So this is 70 over 50, right? We know that 50 goes into 70 one time, right? With 2 left over. I could say this is 1 and 20 over 50, but I also know that I can divide both of these by 10, right, and get rid of the zeros. So really, this is 1 2/5. So my slope is, what is the slope of the line? 1 2/5. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 7. Write an equation to describe the relationship shown in the graph. Okay, an equation, remember, is in the form of y equals mx. And if it's not going through the origin, it would be plus b, but this one is going through the origin. So we got lucky. We just need to find the slope. So this is y equals something x. And we know the slope is going up 20 and over 1, right? We know it's not going up 1 because this says 20. And 20 over 1 would be, well, 20 divided by 1. That's 20. So y equals 20x is our answer. Number 8 says, what is the y-intercept of the graph? This is easy. The y-intercept is where it crosses through the y-axis. So that tells me it's crossing it at 2. And that's it. The y-intercept is 2. Number 9 says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for this graph. This time it's not going through my origin, so I'm going to be using the linear equation y equals mx plus b. All right? Now, b is the starting point, and that means where did it cross the y? And it crossed it at 4. So I know the ending of this is going to be positive 4, because this is at positive 4, not negative. Now the slope, I have to find 2 spots where it crosses through an intersection. I see the lines crossing through here and here, so that's 1. And if I keep moving up, I see it also crosses here. So it goes up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. That's a ratio of 3 over 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So I'm going to say this is y equals 3x plus 4. Okay? I know 3 divided by 1 is 3, so I can just say it's y equals 3x plus 4. All right, last one. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the graph. Okay? Once again, it's not going through the origin, so I'll be using this formula, y equals something times x, and then plus b. It would be minus b if I seen it go down here, but it's not. I see it crossing through 2, so I'm going to put plus 2. Now I have to find the slope. This one's a little trickier. I see the slope is going downward, and whenever my line is going down, it's a negative slope. See, this line was going up, so I knew it was positive. But this one's going down, so I know this is a negative slope. I find 2 points again. Here's one. Here's another one. I see it goes down 1, right? And then over 1, 2. So this is -1 because it went down, and then over to a -1/2 x plus 2 is my answer. Well, guys, that is it. I went through all of them, and it only took me 22 minutes. I thought I'd explain it pretty well for you guys. I hope that it's good enough to help you with the test. Remember, the test is going to be just like this review. Only difference is I will change the numbers up. So no worries. You guys will be ready for it. All right. I want you all to have a good night, and see you tomorrow.